Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am the Ranting Monkey. He is Jack the motherfucking Cochran. How you doing, Jack?
Good.
How's your day been?
Oh, not bad. Just got done streaming with Polly and a quiz on Polydub's channel.
Oh, how'd that go? That had to be put off a couple of days, right?
Yeah, Polly was real sick, unfortunately, but he seems to be doing a little bit better now.
The stream went well?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Cool. We have a lot of interesting news today. Kind of your regular Friday news dump. They like to do that, guys. If you pay attention, you'll see this a lot. You will get a big news dump on Friday, so that there's a lot of buildup over the weekend, and that's what's talked about. Last weekend it was some kids being racist to the poor little Indian guy. No.
Oh wait, let me give sympathy. Oh,
there we go. That's what I was looking for. This week, man, we had a lot of stuff. We had the shutdown coming to an end. We had Roger Stone getting arrested. Is his name Roger? Did I get?
Yeah, I think so.
Mr. Stone. We'll look up it so we get it right later. But Mr. Stone being arrested, and we had Bernie Sanders reportedly being ready to throw his hat into the ring.
Why?
Wouldn't it be more accurate to say drop his hat into the ring? I don't think he could throw it. He is a frail old man. I think next to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, he's like the oldest person in Washington.
That's terrifying. You don't want to give somebody that's in. I mean, he just looks like he's going to die any minute.
You don't want somebody like that to become president because they have nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
They're not going to have to live with any of the policies. They're going to die before they kick in.
Yeah, shit, they probably won't. They don't know if they're going to survive the week. So he'll invade other countries. He'll drop bombs on people, steal more money, whatever. I don't get it. I look forward to retiring. I don't know about you.
Oh, I'm basically retired now, being all cripple and shit.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's when you were working, that was kind of the dream, is just to have some time to sit back and enjoy your family and your friends and things like that.
I get you. I get what you're saying, and it is there. I remember so many people like, "Oh man, I can't wait to retire," or "I wish I didn't have to work anymore." And let me tell you something. I broke my neck. It's 29, I think it was. That's when I first hurt my neck. And I probably should have never went back to work after that. But I sat at home, dude, for 2 fucking years. 2 fucking years. And by the end of it, it's like, I have got to get out and see people.
Yeah, I understand that.
I've got to get out and do something.
Yes, Monkey.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi. Sorry.
Oh.
You're talking How do I sound?
You sound okay. You're a little bit quiet.
I still sound like I know.
There you go. No, you sound really good right there.
I figured out how to get it to work on my computer. Woohoo.
Congratulations and welcome. How are you, lady?
I had the worst pancreatic attack I've had in a long time during the stream of you guys earlier, but possibly morphine made it better.
Well, there you go. Morphine will do that for you.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
So our big story, we're going to start off with the first one with the end of the end of the government shutdown. And that was the name of the stream here. Jack, I want to ask your opinion. Do you think Trump caved, or do you think he's playing a little 4D chess here?
I don't know if it's 4D chess, but he's definitely playing he's playing a game with them, because they're only reopening the government for a limited period of time, because Nancy Pelosi said that she wasn't going to give him the ability to do the State of the Union.
I know, right? What a cunt.
But he said he's not going to do the State of the Union while the government's shut down. So he opens it up for a couple weeks, gives the announcement, and then if they don't pass a bill to give him the money, it's on them. because they're the ones now holding it back.
I think that's exactly right. When I first saw this, like, oh yeah, he caved, and it's like, wait a minute, this is only 3 weeks, and they were very specific. The Democrats, they kept saying border security. We'll work on border security, border security. They never said the wall.
Yeah,
they were very specific not to say the wall. Avro Wolf, Monkey in the Morning has been going at about 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. That's when I try to do it, just because it tended to be a good time for everybody involved to do it. I don't know where Dax is tonight. I hope he's getting some rest, or I hope he's not stuck at work, which is what often happens. But if he is, hopefully he'll show up when he gets off. But yeah, it just happens to be the time we do it. And for a lot of people, I mean, on the West Coast, it's 11 o'clock. So, oops. What's this about Bernie 2020? We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, when I say he has put the ball squarely in their court, because they kept saying, open the government and then we'll talk about border security. But if they don't negotiate at all, if they don't negotiate in good faith at all, he wins.
Oh, absolutely. And he already could say, well, I've offered these concessions. I offered to give DACA an extension. I've offered this. I've offered that. Yeah. And now he could say, well, I reopened the government, which is what you wanted, and you still can't get anything done.
Yep.
And now it's directly on the Democrats' shoulders. And I think they haven't quite realized that yet, because I see plenty of people talking about this online, and they're all like, haha, he caved. No, he's playing you for fools.
Yep, I would agree with that. Jenna, what do you think? You have an opinion on this?
Yeah. I think he is messing with their minds, and it's really sad they haven't figured out that he's always a step ahead in a way, not with everything. There are things he does stupidly, but he gets to give the State of the Union where you should, which I think the fact that Nancy uninvited him is just tacky and classless, but he gets to give the State of the Union, prove how well it is for minorities and stuff.
Dave, is that you? Is that you in chat? I want to say it's you, and if it is, you want to come hang out? I'm very interested in your opinion on this. Yeah, he seems to do this to them a lot, set them up and let them hurt themselves.
Like with the tweets, he'll tweet something, they'll get all up in arms, and he'll be doing something else, getting it passed because they were too busy complaining about a tweet.
Dude, what the fuck is your name on Twitter? Is it Penguin something? I can never remember. I always, it's like, oh, that's him, you son of a bitch. Yeah, let's get an alternate view, because he doesn't think that Trump's ahead. I think he's setting him up, man. I'd be interested in your. Send me a tweet so I can fucking DM you, or send me a DM, dude. I can't find you in my list here. God damn. Welcome to Monkey is very professional without liberal opinion. Thank you. There it is. Okay. This is why I usually have Dax around, because he can. Why am I not finding you? Okay.
Oh, RJ wanted to know if he can come on.
I already talked to him. Not tonight. Oh, there you are. You got it. Man, what the fuck is with your weird name there on Twitter? People, stay with names that my broke ass can remember. That's not fair. It's like when Weibo changes her name every day, and it's like I can't fucking remember.
Weibo changes her name every day?
She changes it a lot on Twitter. She changes her Twitter name a lot. Dave, I found you right before you sent that. I want credit for that with my badass memory and everything, and yes, I know you put it up there, but I want just a little credit because my memory sucks.
Can I add about the shutdown that I think he's going to have a great laugh when they've literally spent 3 weeks accomplishing nothing.
But see, that's on him right now.
They'll look like.
I think because actually they've what did we go into? It was 34 days, 35 days was this one? 34.
Like that.
I think it was going to be 35, so 34, yeah.
I think he I think he underestimated how they would react, and I think this did bite him in the ass. I really do. I think his poll numbers and him getting the blame for this was solidly stuck on him, and it's his own fault because he said, "I will take the blame for this," and he gave him that soundbite, even though the rest of the soundbite is for securing the country.
Yeah.
But he set up that.
Yeah.
Dax, okay. Dax, I will send you the link. 10 minutes late. Yeah, that's what you get for being late. Nah,
Yeah, you weren't late, Monkey. Dax was late.
I was actually late today.
We don't tell people that.
What is going on? Oh, never mind. There we go. Send it. Anyway, I think he completely underestimated. Hey, Dax, how you doing, man? He can't hear us yet. He's just logging in.
Dax, I will be asking you math questions of how to get to one place to another.
And I will be ignoring them.
How you doing, bud?
I'm all right.
Yeah, I was trying to wait, but I wanted to go right at 2. I sent you a message like half an hour ago. Well, 15 minutes ago.
And I was spending some quality time with the lady. All right.
And that's what you should do. If you get a choice to spend your quality time with the lady or hang out with Monkey, you go with the lady every time. That's
Tyler,
just.
I say hi. I'm sorry, Monkey.
What were you saying?
Oh, I wanted Dax to say hi to
Hi to what?
your lady.
Oh, okay. Well, I will once she comes to bother me, which I'm sure she will.
She will.
I
How were the
don't.
lemon squares, man?
They were good.
That's wrong. You can't. They're nasty.
Well, tell her to go make the brownies, and we'll talk about it after that.
There we go. And David, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm pretty good.
I really want to thank you because you're going to be the differing opinion again, and you're definitely outnumbered here.
Hey, it's fine. I'm used to it.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons I really enjoy talking to you. So you don't think that this is some 4D chess stuff from Trump?
No, I mean, I think a lot of it it doesn't have to do with Trump in the first place. So I think that number one, so 2 weeks prior to the government getting shut down, the Senate 100-0 passed clean funding for the government. And I think that Mitch McConnell obviously wanted to have the president's back, and so he didn't allow it to come back. 35 days of take it or you will, or take it or leave it. I think that they overplayed it on a lot of media outlets, sort of the damage done to federal workers and stuff like that.
Sure.
But for a month, that's all the American public has been seeing, and you can see it reflected in poll numbers.
Absolutely.
He's had the worst poll numbers, because he was coming back. He was up at the 42, 43 range, and now he's back down into that 32 to 34. And so everything that he gained, he sort of lost. And the pressure of being a representative or a congressman, you're getting constant calls from people, and you're getting constant asks for sound bites from media outlets and stuff like that. And, they're clipping you out of context, and it's a whole lot of just terrible PR that continued for so long. So I think the idea that in 3 weeks, we're going to come back to this and the government's going to shut down again, I don't think that the Senate Republicans really have the heart for that. I don't think they really want to go through this whole thing again. So that's why I don't think it's gonna happen that way.
I want to agree with you on that. I think the optics of this, and I really don't blame the senators at all. It's Trump. I think the optics worked out entirely backwards to what he thought was going to happen, and he took such a hit on this that he's like, okay, we got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I think he planned it.
Really?
Yep. I don't think he was going to let them suffer that long.
But then why go?
Why get 35 days for no reason? Yeah,
because he's the one who caved here, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
so. He was listening to the people, so he was giving them what they wanted, inevitably saying, "I can't do this to you people anymore. Here, I got to help you out."
Yeah. Why are we, number one? Why are we calling it caving?
Because it's a headbutting match, and one person had to back away.
For all the negativity that is thrown the way towards the president, how about there was a political calculation? It didn't work out. 800,000 people were sucking, missing 2 paychecks in a row, and he realized that, hey, the machinations of this political game aren't worth, these people, and we can all say that he did a somewhat nice thing. I don't think that's a horrible take on this at all.
Look, I think I have no problem calling it caving. I think he absolutely should have caved. I think he should have done it 2 weeks ago.
Maybe.
Nope. Never give in.
Never?
Never. I've
Just
watched
leave the
them all
government.
starve in the street. They're only TSA.
Jesus.
They're not real people. They're like chiropractors and homeless people.
The most evil person in this situation, quite honestly, is Ann Coulter, because she's...
Oh, God, she was such a cunt.
Well, no, you have to realize that, number one, she is the reason why the government shut down in the first place. There was literally an argument between the president and Ann Coulter that caused him to go back on the telegraphing to the Senate that he was going to approve the bill that they voted 100-0 on. And she is single-handedly the reason that he didn't do that. And then 35 days later, he sees the damage that's going on and goes, "Hey, this is not good for the country. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. That is possibly what it was." And then Ann Coulter comes out and calls him like the biggest wimp since like George H.W. Like,
yeah,
what
George
the hell,
H.W.
Ann Coulter? Go fuck off. Nobody wants you.
Yeah, if you guys missed that tweet, she tweeted out, George H.W. Bush can rest easy. He's no longer the biggest wimp president or something like that.
Yeah.
No, that's not what
It
happened.
was congratulations.
Yeah, it was rude. It was Ann Coulter. Let's put it that way. Here's what do you think about it only being a 3-week stopgap, though, David?
Well, I mean, that was the Democrat offering. So, I mean, that seems to be an acceptable period of time that the Democrats put forward that Republicans think they can work with. I mean, from an outside person who watches those sorts of like House resolutions and Senate resolutions pretty constantly, 3 weeks seems like a very acceptable amount of time to do any sort of negotiations they need to do on a clean bill, or to introduce any sort of tidbits that people want in it. Because a lot of the things that people weren't even talking about in the background was, even if you have like an agreement, right? Like, let's say that Democrats cave and they say, "Yeah, sure, we want the wall." You still have to get that legislation written down.
Sure.
You know what I mean? All you would be able to do in the timeline of like a day or two, right, to have that fast of a turnaround, would be to put it in some sort of slot appropriation. But even then, you're not going to have like the wall, in legalese written in that type of document. So 3 weeks will give, the corporations and everyone else and the lobbyists and everything a good amount of time to write whatever additions they want onto this clean bill, and that hopefully, they can come to some sort of solution and the government can move on and we're not using a bunch of federal workers as hostages.
Real quick, Chaos Eve asks, who is the David guy? He's Liberal Penguin over on Twitter. Me and him argue pretty regularly, and he's here as opposition. Not necessarily opposition.
That's what you want to call it. So hi, my name is David Bishop. I'm a bomb technician. I run a podcast called The Insubordinate Podcast. It's available on iTunes, Google Play Store, and I shitpost on Twitter under the handle @LiberalPenguin.
Yeah, and me and him get along pretty well, and he does offer a differing opinion, and that's something we don't have here a whole lot. It is a little bit of a bubble here, so I like to have a different opinion. Let me ask you this. Let's put on our prognostication hats. It's 2020. Let's say they give him the wall, give him his funding in this 3 weeks. Which is a bigger story in 2020, that he caused this 3 or 5 week shutdown, or that he got the wall?
Well, so I think when you think of in terms of long-term political damage, the idea of going back on promises is always going to hurt you way more than anything else. So I think realistically, if he somehow got the wall, right, and you just think past all the eminent domain cases and all the appropriations issues and the court blockages, which would make the wall not even happen, let's say that all magically goes away, I think absolutely his base would forgive him for 35 days of government shutdown. I think you're probably going to see certain outlets. I mean, HuffPo's now dead. We should probably talk about that at some point. But
sure,
there are going to be some outlets there that try to sort of run this story. But I don't think it's going to get a lot of traction. I mean, especially, in a couple days, like in 6 days, we're going to have most of these federal workers have already had their pay situations fixed. So there's not really a lot of lasting damage. The GDP growth is probably going to be the only lasting long-term damage here. We are going to have a really terrible first quarter, might even see a contraction. So, yeah. I mean, that's probably the only real long-term damage here. I think The biggest issue is not going back on the campaign promise. So if he doesn't go back on the campaign promise, I see no damage coming from any of this, except for, like I said, the first quarter, which is going to be very, very low.
Well, that's why I asked, because the thing all over Twitter right now and all over a lot of news outlets is that Trump lost. Nancy kicked his ass. I don't think they can give him the wall. Politically, they cannot let him have his wall, because if he gets that, that doesn't necessarily assure 2020, but it makes it a lot easier for him. If he cannot get the wall, unless he can absolutely pin it on the Democrats, which he tried to do here and it didn't work, unless he can pin it on them, his base goes, because that was like his #1 promise.
To be quite honest, I try not to be so. I don't even know what the word is. I try not to think so little of Trump supporters that they're going to abandon him just because a wall isn't built. I don't think that's the only reason why Trump supporters supported
Twitter
Trump
today, though.
Yeah, dude. I mean, but Twitter's not real life. I mean, let's get some polling analytics out there. I mean, like, yes, for a certain amount of the base, the wall is extremely important. But let's be honest, 80% or above of those supporters are still going to be around. So, I mean, if you look at like the QAnon threads, which I do because I think they're funny, you will even notice there was about a 6-hour turnaround from, oh my God, Trump stabbed us all in the back. I can't believe this. I'm staying home in 2020. And 6 hours later, all the same people are going like, wait, maybe Trump is playing 6D chess, the same name as this stream. So there is this sort of rectification process in a lot of these people where they see something happen, they hate it, but then they find a way to sort of reason back to being in that camp. So I don't think there's I think that honestly, the rules of politics they don't apply to Trump in the first place. I think it's the only way to say that makes sense. So I think that there's absolutely a way, even if he doesn't get the wall, he just goes on the campaign trail and he makes up a few funny nicknames and sort of co-create some memeage out there. And then all of a sudden he has all these people back in his corner.
I don't know about 4D chess, but I do think the 3 weeks, the reason he agreed to that is because he tried for 5 weeks to pin this on the Democrats, which, by the way, I still say he made a huge mistake in his meeting with Chuck and
yes,
Nancy.
That soundbite was horrible.
It was horrible. And he should have known that was going to be it. But anyway, I think this 3 weeks is going to be his out. Like, look, I gave him the 3 weeks they asked for, and I couldn't get it. And I think he's actually going to go with the emergency thing. And that I fucking hate that idea. I hate it.
I don't think he will. I think he's going to spin this because now he can pin it on them after the 3 weeks are up. And he'll spin it as they've been holding up the government. They've been keeping people from getting their checks. All they had to do was give me this minuscule amount of money for a crappy little slat wall. He'll spin it that way for the election.
I think he'll try to.
Do you really think that the Trump campaign is really thinking out to 2020 right now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Speaking of 2020, apparently Bernie's going to run.
Oh my God! Shoot me in the face, something.
He won't live that long.
God, I saw that today, and I wanted to go strangle a homeless person. I'm not gonna lie.
Bernie, what are you doing, man? You could barely make it in 2016,
dude. Hey, this is a gay op. Okay, straight up. Bernie Sanders is a gay op, confirmed. Absolutely, he has controlled opposition all the way.
You think he's there to make Warren look a little less far left?
Honestly, I think Bernie Sanders he's got such a big ego. He has to be president, and he's not going to ever quit. Even though if you go to any thread where Bernie Sanders talks about running, there's he gets ratioed, and everyone's like, "No, please stay home.
Don't do it. Stay home."
Yeah. So I don't know. Hey, I mean, it's good news for most of the people in this chat because they sort of seem to lean right. Hey, you have the first good sort of person who's going to destroy the Democratic Party again from the inside running in 2020.
Well, so far we have Harris is running, Gabbard is running.
Yeah, Juliana Castro. Yeah, Kamala Harris, you already said that. Kirsten Gillibrand, Elizabeth Warren.
Ocasio-Cortez.
No, she's not old
That's
enough.
not funny.
Hate fact.
Hey,
You
hey.
ageist.
She said
What?
because the Constitution says men, she can run. Which, by the way, that's not what it says there, sweetheart.
See, the one great thing now about Bernie running is that he's not going to be able to siphon off millions from the DNC because they changed their rules. So unless he decides to actually come out as a Democrat, he's not going to get access to all those campaign funds.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah.
So the DNC did learn something from 2016. Good on them. Maybe learn it, 10 years ago. But hey,
What's Hillary going to announce?
she's not, because unlike Bernie, she's like, okay, you know what? I'm done. Like I'm just this old lady, like quilting in Chippewa. Like I'm done.
I think she really wants to run. I think the tour she's done with Bill and how badly sales went for their tickets, showing her she's not very popular.
Well, I mean, she's got an ego too. Absolutely,
Sure.
Absolutely. But I mean, when you put her and Bernie next to each other, I mean, come on.
Oh, I'm just glad the Democrats are running a bigger field. They actually, there were two other people who ran last time, and I couldn't even name them.
What, Jill Stein of the Greens?
No, that actually ran in the Democratic Party or for the Dem.
Jim Webb and
yes. What was the other guy's name? Wasn't he from like Maryland?
I don't know. I only remember Jim Webb because they're like, what's your favorite moment of fighting on the campaign trail? He's like, nothing is better than when I was in Vietnam and I grabbed that grenade and I threw it back at the guy who threw it at me and I watched him die. And then he like gave that weird smile and you're like, I want to vote for that guy right now. And then, he left because for everyone else, apparently that made you unelectable.
Wasn't it before all that happened? Tim
Kaine
then went to Hillary's vice president.
Who now?
Tim Kaine.
Yeah. The VP choice?
Yeah, with Hillary. Wasn't it him in the start, though? And then he conceded and...
No, it was Martin O'Malley. Thank you, Prospero. She always remembers. And it was Maryland. Hey, my memory, guys.
I think she's right, though. I think Tim Kaine ran 25 minutes.
He might have. Yeah. But this time, I'm actually liking the field because you have Gillibrand, who's basically a soft righty. And now you have Bernie, who's...
So Gillibrand recently went on Pod Save America and outlined all of her policy proposals. And at least on the surface, I'm liking her already. So, I mean, we get to see how this all shakes down. I mean, there was a lot of pundits who didn't like the idea of Democrats operating in the same space the Republicans did in 2016, especially given the conclusion. But honestly, at the end of the day, hey, we're a country of Americans, and if the Democratic Party wants to elect some fucking retard at the end of the day, you know what? And, obviously, along with a certain portion of independents and Republicans, you know what? Then that's what we vote for. If we end up voting ourselves into complete and total idiocracy, well, that is the president we deserve. You know what I mean?
I agree with you there. And I've said that before. Like, look, whoever gets AOC, I think she's a fucking moron. But the people of that district elected her, and it is their right to elect whoever it is. Good for them. Good for them. And if we do that on a national level, I'm okay with it too. Shit happens.
Nope. Vermin Supreme 2020.
No, yeah, free ponies and boots on our heads.
Oh no.
I really no. So I am trying to get John McAfee. I am in the works right now to get John McAfee on the Insubordinate podcast because I think that right now that man is the most entertaining person in America. Although he's not in America, I guess he's sort of evading law enforcement on a boat. But dude, that guy.
Who is John McAfee?
The guy that invented the antivirus software?
Yeah, so the guy who invented the antivirus software and ran on, 2012 on the Libertarian ticket and then sort of disappeared for a while, is currently evading U.S. authorities possibly on murder charges and put together a whole bunch of millions and millions of dollars along with other sort of eccentric millionaires to go onto a whale fucking trip. And the dude's just amazing. To be quite honest, he's the most entertaining person in America right now.
Yeah, I saw the thing about him being on a boat, but I haven't paid much attention to him.
I have to say, with credentials like that, he's still more legal, or I'm not quite sure how to phrase that than Hillary. Have done less crimes, whatever.
Well, I think murdering somebody is a little bit more than Hillary's ever
Hey,
been.
not convicted. We're talking alleged here.
Alleged.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Seth Rich.
Yeah. How close are you to nailing him down?
I'm working on it. Okay.
Oh man. The other big story today, guys, was the arrest of Roger Stone.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see the video?
Which video?
Him being arrested.
Oh, the raid or whatever. I didn't really see it. I heard people commenting on it. And they're like, "Can you believe that they would send FBI guys in with guns?" And it's like, yeah, when they normally execute like warrants where they think people are in the commission of destroying evidence, they go in like that. That's how they do.
Yeah. Okay. Have they raided anybody else like this to arrest him in this?
Absolutely, yeah. Manafort got raided in pretty much this exact same type of scenario, except they were executing 3 warrants simultaneously because they thought he was going to be in the commission of crimes as he was apprehended. So yeah, this isn't a new thing.
I'm not saying it's a new thing. I think I counted 7 officers maybe in full tactical gear. It looked like a little overkill. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not so much they think the guy's going to shoot back. What it is they want to have sort of a hard knock so that pretty much anything that's going on as soon as they enter the property gets shut down.
I get that, but then they just knocked on the door and talked to him casually.
Yeah.
That was it was a weird look. That's all I'm saying.
It happens more than you think, and it's just for their protection.
Yeah, but the optics, I mean, this is a guy who was accused of, let's see, he's got obstruction of justice, lying to Congress, and intimidating a witness.
Yeah, witness tampering.
And the witness tampering charge is just kind of silly.
So you got to think with a lot of these parts too, we don't really know the background. So for some of these people, they are definitely like actual hard targets. And others are people that they want to flip. So there's a few sort of questionable people out there that you wonder why they haven't either been indicted or like brought in for questioning. So like one of the biggest ones out there is like Ivanka Trump, because with all the things that was going on in the business world in her periphery, you'd think that she'd have been talked to yet. And so there's a lot of people out there that are wondering if, because the president can't really be indicted, there becomes like the sergeant of arms sort of back and forth, grand juries and all kinds of weirdness behind the scenes. But family members absolutely can be. So you have to start thinking about like Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, like the biggest ones that you can get close to. You have to remember that Michael Flynn only really flipped once his son became a peripheral target in the investigation. That's when Michael Flynn first started, cooperating. So there's a lot going on here. My best take on it is that now with Jerome Corsi and Roger Stone gone, like QAnon is just going to fall apart. Like, if you are into like the QAnon conspiracy theories at all, and you look into this stuff, like Jerome Corsi was like a golden angel and very likely QAnon himself, and then Roger Stone helped pump all this stuff into it, and it's just like all these people that are going around QAnon, and then all these predictions with QAnon are just falling apart. And watching these people just try to sort of like keep it all together behind all this is thoroughly entertaining. But I mean, I have no soul, I guess.
I think this is actually a win for the reptilians.
Oh my!
George Soros investment paid off, people.
I think we got to be coming to the end of this soon. I mean, he's getting as high up as he can get. With Stone, I mean, Stone wasn't even a part of the campaign officially after August of 2015.
Well, so I don't know if you guys remember these stories, but there was a whole bunch of Roger Stone committing sort of crimes sort of in the open. He was telegraphing like a lot of things regarding stolen intelligence, just like on his Twitter feed. And, would come back and like sort of delete the tweets maybe like 24 hours later because a whole bunch of people were like, hey, this is not a good idea. And he repeatedly did this. Like, and it's just like a really sort of weird situation. I mean, you got to wonder, were these people being forced to do it, or did they not understand, like liability and stuff like that. It's just really weird.
Well, that's why I think. I mean, let's see. We've had Manafort, Flynn, Cohen, and now
Papadopoulos.
But we're getting to the point where they're getting out to the fringe of the campaign, because Stone wasn't officially working with the campaign, but he was helping them along the way.
Yeah,
he was still tied to it, even though he wasn't an official part.
So the other thing that you got to keep in mind is that when they are unrolling this investigation and rolling out the indictments and stuff like that, what it is that you sort of have an order that you need to indict people on, because you don't want the main targets to know the full story before you have their indictment with all the substantiating evidence and documentation surrounding that, because you don't want to let the people that you're trying to prosecute sort of have an upper hand. And so, like this piece on all this stuff on Roger Stone may have been absolutely put together, 6 months ago. But the thing is that there's just certain dominoes that need to fall. But I do think with what you're saying that we're sort of getting to the outside sort of, types of contacts of some of these people, that it would seem to make sense that we're wrapping up. I mean, I think I agree with you there.
Somebody asked what the significance or the importance is of Roger Stone. Stone worked for the campaign up until August of 2017. And then after that, he was kind of a unofficial advisor for them. And the main thing they're going after, if we're just being honest about it, is how much he knew about WikiLeaks. They think he was probably what's the word I'm looking for here?
He was a conduit.
Yeah. He was a conduit to what was going on with the WikiLeaks dumps as they were coming up, and letting the campaign know, hey guys, here comes a good one for you. So and the WikiLeaks thing was, the WikiLeaks had the DNC information that had been stolen. So not a good look. Not a good look for him.
All right, let me throw out an idea here that may be interconnecting things a little bit. This may sound slightly, quote, conspiratorial, but
bring it, Jack. Let me know. Give it to me.
Okay, so Alex Jones worked with Roger Stone.
Yes.
Roger Stone's last name is Stone. Mundane Matt collected boulders, which are stones. And Mundane Matt drives for Uber Eats, which delivers what? What do you get from Uber Eats? Pizza. Pizzagate.
Oh,
it's all a
genius.
conspiracy. It's all connected.
So a quick question for you guys. Mundane Matt or Mundane Mohawk? Who is better right now?
Oh, how do you mean better?
I mean, like, who's just a more piece of shit right at this moment?
Mohawk.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Me and him have not gotten along for a long
Mohawk
time.
is.
That would be Tonka. Me and him have not gotten along for a long.
Tonka trucks.
Okay, shit.
Tonga.
You know what?
Be a dog, not.
You know what
avatar.
You know what I hate? That, like, I don't like Jim at all. Mr. Matoker.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, he put together a fantabulous video on Tonka Saw. This whole thing, like, with fucking Andy Worski, Cokehead, and like Tonka trucks, I'm just like, there is not a redeemable soul in this whole batch of individuals.
One, you're speaking my language now. I love the drama shit. I try my best to stay out of it, but I fucking love watching it. And me and Tonka got into it just over, is that 2 years? It was in December of 2017. And we have not gotten along since. And I've watched all of this, and I'm enjoying this part so much. I think for him, the problem is you cannot challenge somebody to a fight, get all the way up to the fight, and then not show up. It is better to get your ass beat.
Hell yeah.
And not show up. And he ruined himself. And then he did have a stream today where he ignored it completely. He just talked about wrestling.
He's doing the Mundane Matt treatment.
Even worse though. I'm sorry, Jack.
Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there. I think what Mundane Matt did was much more forgivable than Tonka leading his own fans on, having them pay for flights and seats and hotel rooms, and then just not fulfilling That's way more egregious than anything Matt did, I think.
Yeah. Now the most egregious thing though here, I don't know if you guys saw this, but being the lefty here, I have to point out that Andy Worski did do some ableist stuff on his way into the arena.
Yes, he
I don't know
did.
if you saw it. Okay. So back to Roger Stone. Did you hear what his sort of defense is? Like his initial defense? It's really great.
No, all I heard was that he said he would never flip on Trump. That if he's not going to testify against Trump because he would have to lie if he would do that.
Which doesn't make sense, by the way, because like if they'd be like, so at this point did you do this, and you just be like, no, like you can absolutely testify. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. But either way, no, what he because he is on record like a whole bunch of times talking about how he knows Julian Assange, and they've talked and they've met and they've shared information and stuff like that. He's literally on record, like on different shows. Like he's even admitted this stuff to like on InfoWars, on like NBC and stuff like that. And so his initial defense coming into this now is, so I actually don't know Julian Assange. What I did was I went into Google and I put a news search for Julian Assange. So whenever anything came across the wire with Julian Assange, I would see it. And then I just sort of put 2 and 2 together. And then I'd release that I think there was going to be some information. Like that's his defense going into this. And I just got to think, like, these people are seasoned federal prosecutors. You know what I mean? Like they have ruled that out. Like you got to think, at this point.
Yeah, that's not a very strong defense.
No, like it's literally just sort of like, I was trolling, bruh. That's my like literal legal defense. Like, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out.
I would like to point out Zero said that he doesn't see any facts to back up my theory. And I had to explain to him that I'm morally correct, maybe not factually correct.
And that's the important part.
That's what counts. Oh, man. Yeah, it's been a fun news day. I've enjoyed it. I like when we have these.
I just want us all to get back to being Americans. Like we need like another 9/11 or something, so we all get that sense of being American again. I really hate just the divide right now. Because
you're military, right?
Yeah.
And you
no, I'm not saying like I want another 9/11. I'm just saying we need some sort of unifying event. You know what I mean?
I didn't get that. I didn't mean that you were in your basement planning a. I was just asking your military, and I appreciate what you do for our country, even if you're leftist.
If you're lefty. I think you're right. I think we're way too divided. I don't mind being divided. I can't remember a time when there wasn't, a difference of opinion here and there. But it's gotten so polarized to the point where, I mean, it's just insane right now.
Yeah. Well, it's gone from you're wrong to like you're evil, and this isn't necessarily limited to one side. Like, like you can't even talk about like healthcare reform without somebody like screaming in your face, like Venezuela, 100 million people, Holodomor. I'm like, oh my God. And then I know that for the flip side, there's people that are like, they're talking about immigration in a very reasonable sense, and they're getting like shamed as neo-Nazis. So, I don't know. I don't know how to, I want to get back to just being able to hammer out policy without calling each other communists or fucking neo-Nazis. I don't know.
I would like to be able to have disagreements and then be able to have a beer with somebody. I don't care if we disagree on policy. That's going to be, I mean, we should disagree on policy. If everybody is thinking the same, you're North Korea and you've been brainwashed.
Someone told me to accept that Trump is my president. Yes, Trump is absolutely my president and the commander-in-chief. I have zero issue with that. I don't think most people on the left have a problem with that.
No, there are people who do. I saw one just the other day. He's not my president.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. Yeah, he is.
Here's the thing with Twitter. Here's the thing with Twitter and social media anyway, is they amplify all these negative voices. If you actually like go out in real life and interact with people, they'll be like, oh, I have some serious heavy policy disagreements with the president. And he'd be like, is he your president? And you'd be like, of course he's my president. Duh. Like, I'm an American. He's the president. This is sort of reality.
Well, there's a college town near me, and I do see this stuff because it is kind of on our college campuses a lot. And there's, you know, various different theories of why. I think it's because our college professors now are the ones who were raised by the hippies. So fucking hippies ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
At least you didn't go like cultural Marxism Jews.
That's awfully specific.
No, I mean, no. Well, oh my gosh, you have no idea how much online only, never in real life. I've heard that like the postmodern cultural Marxist Jews are brainwashing institutions, and I'm like, oh my god, which is where are these people in real life? Do they just hide it and it's there, or are just like the normal people all walking around, working, you know, doing their jobs, loving their wives and kids and doing everything, and like all these people filled with bile and rage and anger are just huddled up like the straw man of someone in their basement? Like, where's the disconnect?
The same people. I think they're the same people, but you got to be careful what you say at your job. But then you go be anonymous on Twitter and you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, it's Bob in the next cubicle.
Yeah, I mean, they're the same people. It's just in the real world setting, they have to be more civil or there's consequences. Which is why I love Twitter. I've had this argument many times. People tell me that, you know, Twitter is a shithole. It's a cesspool. It's horrible. I'm like, I fucking love Twitter. I think Twitter's where people go to be honest.
I think Twitter's where people go to look like the homeless guy that sits across from me on the bus, screaming insane shit and threatening to stab me.
You're not wrong, but I mean, I prefer a little honesty. And yeah, they probably go overboard. Several of them go way overboard. But I think that there's a lot of people who hold that shit in all day and then they get onto Twitter and just explode. And I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. When we say, you know, it's not real life, I think it is. I just think it's the hidden part that people can't say because they'll lose their jobs or somebody will punch them in the face, or, you know, in real life, there's consequences. Has the military changed its rules this much? When I was active duty, you couldn't talk politics and admit that you were military without risking an Article 15. Oh, are you talking about Dave here?
So pretty much the rule is don't say that you're speaking for the DoD or anything like that. Don't try to say that, oh, because of my position is this, I have understanding. I mean, if you're tertiarily admitting that you do something as a job and then stating other views, there's no issue there.
It's your political affiliation doesn't stop you from doing your job and to completing it as
the big issue, and the reason why there is an online social media policy in the first place is that they don't want people talking, you know, they don't want the illusion that someone is talking and representing the Department of Defense. Yeah. So I am not in any capacity a representative for the Department of Defense, if that helps people out there. But I mean, there's still definite things I wouldn't do on, especially because I'm not anonymous or anything like that on the internet. So I mean, I'm just not gonna do a lot of that stuff anyway. But yeah.
Oh, like Monkey said, there's nothing wrong with having different opinions. It's actually important that we don't all live in a cookie cutter world. And I believe that the military has the right to you have the right to believe in whatever you want to believe in. As long as you do your job, you're good.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me tell you about the reptilians.
Oh God.
Reptilian?
Okay, so I don't know your meme on that one. How did the whole like reptilian conspiracy theory thing ever start?
Okay, there's this guy, David Icke. He was a race car driver, I think, in the UK. He got in a bad accident, And then he came up with this theory that reptilians have infested the government. He's really the one that perpetuated this. And celebrities are reptilians, and sometimes their mask slips. He's actually talking about reptilians. That's not a euphemism.
Yeah.
He really thinks it?
Yeah, he got detained at the Canadian border last year because they thought he was talking in code about Jewish people, and it took him like 6 hours to explain to them that no, he meant lizard people.
Real lizard people.
Face.
So when the mask drops, is it like in the old X-Men movies, like when Mystique's eyes would flicker because they were trying to show you that she's inside the person? Like, what do they mean by the mask slipping?
Are you old enough to remember the TV show V?
Yeah,
where they literally pull this artificial Mission Impossible 2 style mask off, and
okay,
there's a lizard person underneath this fake skin that looks like a human.
How much drugs is that person on?
I think he's got some brain damage, but it's a hilarious game.
Too many drugs or not enough. Real quick, thank you, Christian Delome. Pizza and nachos on me, guys. Thanks for entertaining a bored truck driver on a long run. Happy to, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for the donation.
Hey, appreciate the truck drivers. There's 5 million of you guys making sure we're all getting all the stuff we need. Thank you so much for your job.
I demand that so I can get my pizza.
That's how I get my ramen noodles, dude. I still want to know what happened to all those stolen ramen noodles. Remember that big story? Somebody stole a truckload of ramen noodles.
I think we all know those went to a coyote somewhere along the border.
Yeah.
A bunch of Mexicans in.
We know them Mexicans ain't eating on the way over because somebody had to drop them some food. Wow.
I actually have a question. I'm not sure if I heard it on Lords of the Night or somewhere else, but mothers actually put their daughters on birth control when they're traveling up in the caravans because they know they're going to be raped.
Yeah. Donald Trump said that. He was talking about the problem with sexual violence on the trip up from Central America or South America. The statistic that's being thrown around is 1 in 3 women on that trip will be sexually assaulted, which is, that's not a good thing. So apparently there's some that are putting their daughters on birth control so they don't end up having a child.
You think they would want to do it legally though, so that their daughters won't be raped? Go to the
chastity belt.
Oh no! Instead of
she means not coming legally,
going to the American. It's really late. I don't have the name for it right now. Going to
an embassy or a
thank you, and asking for a cell. It's people do it all the time.
I'm going to change the subject because I just saw this headline. Man so happy about winning $298 million jackpot he can't even eat.
Because he went too high from all the cocaine that he got.
He went from a truck driver to a Brinks driver. A 56-year-old Brooklyn trucker won the state's second biggest lottery jackpot ever, and he's already quit his job with an eye on a bright red Porsche, he said Friday.
And it will be gone before the end of the year because they spend it too quickly.
Not that much. He's got a couple of years on $298 million. He says, I can't even eat.
Taxed.
I can't even eat. I start and I can't finish my food. I am happy with joy inside.
You're a faggot.
He is filled with so much joy he can't even eat. You know what? If I won $298 million, I might not be able to eat either.
If I had $298 million, I'd order a pizza and just shut up about it.
So someone, I mean, they brought it up and we sort of just left real quick. But you're saying that the president was saying that people were using contraceptives?
No, they were putting their daughters on birth control on the trip up from Central America. Yeah.
So I was going to say, I just did some looking into that. So number one, it originally stems from United Nations University report that came from International Organization for Migration, which pulled a stat from the Migration Policy Institute. And they're not really talking about a number, but what they're saying is that anecdotally, speaking to a whole bunch of these refugees, that what they were doing was injecting contraceptives prior to the there just so they wouldn't get pregnant. Although one of the issues was that doesn't necessarily stop you from being raped, number one, and then obviously doesn't stop you from any sort of sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's really just a horrible trek just in general, but
Yeah.
the president is not wrong for saying that. Like it's not like it's coming from Breitbart or something like that. You know what I mean?
No, that was one of the things with his speech that he gave. It was so laughable with all the fact checking, because this was one of the, I think that came from that speech he gave. Well, address to the nation. There were a lot of people.
Candid he's ever been.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who fact checked it, who were like, "Yeah, this is true," but that was where the whole true but thing was, because he was actually right about a lot of this stuff. That 1 in 3 thing doesn't, like you said, it didn't come from Breitbart. It came from real stats of these women. And look, hey, it is better to come up with just herpes rather than herpes in a kid. But look, even with the wall, if we can put that up, people are still going to try to get in illegally. And the problem is they need to fix their own fucking countries. And I don't have the answer for that. I'm not even going to pretend I do.
That's what I've been saying.
Well,
they got to fix it themselves, or what are they going to do when they get here? They're going to repeat the same mistakes.
Well, number one, we go down to Venezuela. We kick Maduro out and put him in exile. We allow the interim government that we have already said is legitimate. We allow them transition, and then we leave. That's one country down, and then we go to the next. No, I mean, realistically, one of the biggest issues is just the drug war. We need to stop that.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
I agree, David.
Once you allow these corporations to start making drugs, and you let the FDA regulate, and you let the feds freaking tax it, all these cartels dry up. I mean, that's what's going to happen. And then you are going to then see a lot of these people stop these very risk taking behavior. And then with that, these areas will become safer. And then there will be much less of a problem. I mean, these countries aren't going to turn into utopias overnight or anything. But I mean, the U.S. is the biggest importer of drugs. We have the biggest appetite for this stuff. And if for all the people, you know, that are apparently right-leaning and have 15 million F.A. Hayek books, don't seem to understand that this is how markets work. If there's a huge demand for something, then there are going to be people that go through all types of risks to smuggle, because at the end of the day, they make tons and tons of money off it. I mean, we are talking about literally like $1 trillion business.
It's not like we don't have a good example of this in our own fucking country. Prohibition, guys, look it up. We invented a new crime, and it fucking decimated cities in what was it, 20s? Anyway, and it's because it's like, this is outlawed. Sorry, you can't do it anymore. And everybody's like, I still want to get drunk, motherfucker.
No, I think the wall really is not to stop human trafficking. It's to stop the influx of the Chupacabra army that the reptilians are sending.
It's like, okay, Jack's gonna inject something, and then you give me some guy.
I got nothing. So, I don't know why you let me in on these conversations half the time. David, I sent you a couple links here in the group chat about David Icke and his conspiracy of the Illuminati reptilians.
Okay,
so you can enjoy those later.
I will enjoy them later.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, go look up those reptilians so you can speak on it intelligently.
I just got all caught up on, I don't know if you know this name, but David Seaman.
Yeah. Oh, why is that familiar?
So like sort of worked for InfoWars, but the guy created his own little independent media, InfoWars, and he's crazier than Alex Jones, man. And he doesn't get as angry, but the whole thought process behind some of his conspiracy theory stuff is just great.
Wasn't he in the news recently?
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm trying to. I know that name, and I can't place it. But yeah. I love lunatics. I really do. Conspiracy theories. Sometimes I will sit down and just for a night, I will indulge conspiracy theories. I'll just go watch them and be like, yeah, and then I stop myself. Like, no,
you're like, I have to stop
reality. There's a point where if you start believing it, it's time to turn it off.
Oh yeah.
But it's. I mean, they're fun. I see them as basically unrecorded movies.
So someone on the chat said someone who's crazier than Alex Jones. Here's my thing on Alex Jones, though. I am near 100% sure. I mean, like 99.99.
He's playing.
that he is an actor, and he is just one of the best actors of our generation, and he needs awards. That guy needs Oscars and Emmys and whatever else we can give him, because he is amazing.
I think he might believe some of it, but he just exaggerates it to a crazy extent.
Yeah. But I mean, do you see how much energy he puts into his performance?
Oh yeah,
he does. Yeah,
Dude, he's amazing.
The same as Candace Jones. He found an audience for his. He latched on. Look, people will pay for this, and he's a very good actor at it. And yeah, you're right. He probably does believe some of what he says, but not with the passion that he puts it out there.
He's so amazing.
He is. I love Alex Jones. I fucking do. There's some people you can't take seriously. You have to watch them for entertainment. I loved Milo, and it wasn't because of what he was saying. It was because he was entertaining as fuck.
The only thing with Alex Jones is that, I mean, he forever has this sort of issue hanging over him because of the Sandy Hook stuff, and because he sort of went on a few spurg outs, and he's like, hunt these people down, and like, you tell them what you think and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you have like the parents of these dead kids getting their asses kicked, and like going like, who's telling people to kick my ass? They go like, hey, honey, did you see this guy on YouTube with like 2 million followers telling people to kick our asses? Let's fucking sue this guy. So, I mean,
no, yeah,
if he hadn't done that, I mean, he'd be so much better off now. Like, I don't think a lot of these platforms that are, like kicking all these people, I don't think he would have necessarily been targeted, because that was really like the first time that he sort of crossed the line into urging violence. And I mean, he doesn't need to do that for his performance art to work.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I haven't heard that specific clip. I know a lot of the stuff that was attributed to him wasn't actually from him.
Oh, there's definitely clips of him literally telling him like, you go find those families, you go tell them what's up. Yeah. I mean, he's not saying, hey, you find those families, take a hatchet and cut their faces off. He's not saying that. But I mean, there's a certain point where when you're urging your fan base to track them down, I mean, you can be held somewhat liable for their actions when they do all the way up to that and then a little bit more.
And he said this about the Sandy Hook parents?
Yes. Yeah, because he believes that, I mean, he doesn't believe, but he espoused that the Sandy Hook was a false flag conspiracy, that sort of the children that were dead weren't actually dead. There were no children that were killed, and that the parents were all paid actors.
I've never understood that conspiracy. Of all the conspiracies you can go with, why Sandy Hook was a hoax? What was the point of the? I know what their answer is. It was for gun control, which is silly. But why the children or the parents of dead kids? Alex. From what I've heard and what I've seen, I don't think Alex crossed the line into illegal territory or even culpable territory. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that. That's fine.
Well, no, I mean, he did lose a lawsuit, so he was definitely found, at least in civil matters, responsible for damages.
Yeah, and I just disagree with the
outcome.
There. Yeah. But why that one? Why? That's the part that gets me. I mean, there's things. Go ahead. If you want to do the 9/11 thing, fine. I mean, it's silly as shit, but at least you're not attacked. This was a bunch of kids who got shot.
Yeah.
Why go after that?
Who are you going to really go after though? Like in the 9/11, are you going to go like hunt down George Bush and like Dick Cheney? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
because they have Secret Service protection for life.
Never go hunting with Dick Cheney.
Yeah. Plus, Dick Cheney will shoot you. I mean, he shot his friend and then made his friend apologize to him.
I'm sorry you shot me.
Look, dude, by the way, that's power. I just want to point that out to people. Like, if you shoot someone and then you get that person to apologize to you on TV, that is power.
Indeed.
That's of power.
Well, he's already got a track record for shooting people, namely you.
Time out, guys. If you have something to shill, a channel, a Streamlabs, anything like that, throw it in the chat because I'm too lazy to do it. And by the way, don't forget, guys, the Ranting Monkey Show is brought to you by the Ranting Monkey. So if you want to support me, blah, 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 you know the deal. I just thought it was weird to fixate on Sandy Hook. That's all. That's just a weird one to me.
I
If you guys have ever go watch this stuff if you haven't. The actual conspiracy is just fucking weird. There were no actual children there. There's really no people there. It was like a CIA building or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's fucking out there.
Well, they say everything's a false flag.
Oh, of course.
They do, yeah.
I have to tell you, I went to 3 funerals from Sandy Hook.
Peter,
Those coffins. Oh my.
Peter says Jones didn't invent the Sandy Hook shit. I understand that. I do, but he did help push it, and he was fixated on it for quite a while. I mean, every day talking about this shit. I like Jones when he gets into politics. It's more fun. Like what he did with Cenk. That was beautiful.
Oh yes, that was masterful trolling.
It was great.
That's another one of those like sort of Worski Tonka situations where you're like, oh my god, can these people just like deck the shit out of each other over and over and over again?
Oh,
how much would you pay for Alex Jones versus fucking Chunk Yogurt in the ring?
Yeah,
dude,
that would be awesome. And I prefer boxing, but in this case, I would love to see it be an MMA fight.
Well, I mean, it's not like. Number one, have you seen Alex Jones with his shirt off?
Yes,
the dude is a bear. Okay, yeah. So like Cenk Yogurt, he just looks disgusting. He's a fat body, gross, disgusting thing. Like neither of them are going to be throwing kicks at each other. I mean, we know that.
No.
Here's what you're going to see. You're going to see Alex Jones just decking Cenk in the face repeatedly until Cenk dies. That's going to be that fight.
I would pay to see it, though.
Ooh, Anna Kasparian versus Candace Owens.
That could be fun.
Who is actually better than you?
You know what's funny? I'm fairly on the political thing. I'm mostly libertarian, but if you called me a conservative, I wouldn't argue with you. Candace Owens has me blocked. Anna Kasparian does not.
Oh. Hey.
Free speech is for all, not just limited.
Say what you want about Candace, but not Candace, Anna. But at least she hasn't blocked me, and I've said some horrible shit to her.
So
she's better than you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so everyone's saying Candace would kick her ass, but here's the thing: like Anna Kasparian sort of has that like Chola vibe. Like you have no idea if she can just get down and dirty and start ripping her hair out and all kinds of other nonsense.
If you tell Anna that if she wins, she gets a cheeseburger, she will kick the shit out of Candace.
Just tell her Candace is a Armenian genocide believer.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
she's Armenian.
Hey, let's be fair to Cenk. After like 46 years, he finally said, okay, the Armenian genocide happened, move on, I'm never talking about it again. Indeed. So, hey, credit where credit is due. After publishing multiple papers, establishing his bachelor's on the subject, and then peddling bullshit on TYT for years, hey, he made one statement clarifying on the situation when he was finally called out for it by like every news outlet.
Real quick, I have to interject here. Dax, do you know what I'm doing right now?
It might be a Stacey Dash moment.
It is indeed a Stacey Dash moment. I haven't.
You're looking at naked pictures of Stacey Dash while we're talking about the Armenian genocide.
Yes, this is how I make myself feel better about that horrible event. Okay, we're done. What else is going on in the world today? Thank you so much, Christian. Here's the real mystery of the night. Please explain ramen noodles to this poor Canadian.
Oh,
you don't. Well, he said Roman noodles, but ramen, it's R-A-M.
Roman noodles.
I don't think I would eat Roman noodles. That sounds like Caesar's penis. Ramen noodles are an Asian delicacy that you can buy for like 15 cents.
I think delicacy is
disgusting.
Why y'all being mean to my ramen noodles?
Oh,
because they started it.
Well, that's not ramen noodles. That is Roman noodles.
Indeed.
First of all,
I think he heard me wrong. He's a Canadian. I didn't
they don't know how to say English. Maybe it's like one of those like UO situations. He doesn't know. I don't know.
Cynic. Don't be mean to my. You see, everybody's so hating on my ramen. Peter, thank you. Take a Stacy Dash break on me. I appreciate it. Yeah, sorry, Dave. I have a fixation with Stacy, and I take a Stacy Dash moment once or twice each show.
No worries. Are you touching yourself like at the moment?
I'm not. Well, I am, but my hand is touching my other hand. I'm not touching my wiener.
The other hand is wrapped around his wiener.
It's like you're jerking. You're holding like your arm, and like going like this.
Yeah, I'm crippled, so I have to do that. My arm needs assistance.
Ask him about Alyssa Milano.
I love her, but she's so dumb.
Hey, she was great in Charmed. Or Charmed. What is it? Charms? I don't know.
Charmed.
Charmed,
How old
yeah.
are you? Can I ask?
34.
Okay, so yeah, you're a bit younger than me. Me and her are about the same age. I came up watching her on, Who's the Boss, and I just had a crush on her my whole life. And then we get to Twitter, and I don't mind people disagreeing with me and having differing opinions, but she's an idiot. There was no, and this is a true story.
Defend
man.
Your clam, monkey.
Here, she tweeted out a video. It was a hashtag Me Too video where it was showing all these men who got away with, abusing women. And in the video, one of the first people they show is Bill Clinton. Literally, like 4 hours later, she sent out a tweet about how much she loves Bill Clinton. I'm like, honey, you just had a video calling him a rapist.
There's a thing called cognitive dissonance, monkey. You separate a subject in your head, and it operates in two planes of thought at the same time. Look, without ever touching.
I enjoy people who disagree with me, but she's an idiot, and I love her for it because it provides me endless joy.
I mean, I'm sure if we got into topics far enough, we could absolutely find some cognitive dissonance within each other.
Oh, I'm sure
everyone has it to a degree, man.
But I doubt you could catch me
within 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
There's been times I've caught myself, and that's why that's why you should have conversations, because that's how you challenge yourself and find the flaws in your own goddamn arguments.
Oh, so I did think of something else, monkey. Sure. Back to the topic of the whole 40 chess thing.
Oh, sure.
The president was not helped at all by literally every single cabinet secretary that made a comment during this shutdown.
Oh, you're right.
We didn't talk about that, but there were just so many out of touch takes, and I think it gets to a point when they a first few of them started coming out, he literally started using the defense. Oh, I haven't heard the news, but I think maybe he didn't really know what he was talking about. And that was in total 6 different people who said something wildly out of touch. I think that just also didn't help the optics.
The shutdown was bad optics for him. It really was. I think he thought that Nancy would blink. I really do. That they would go, okay, yeah, let's do this. We'll give you your damn wall, because again, guys, with our budget, it is really not that much. And as Trump has repeatedly pointed out now, a lot of the Democrats who are against the wall have voted for barriers before. I like how he's changed that now. A barrier, fence, whatever you want to call it. Good job, Mr. President. But yeah, this was horrible optics for him, and he should have known. He does not have a sympathetic press.
So I do have a question because I think this is because you said that you think the president and his campaign team are already sort of thinking 2020.
Yeah.
Does this? I mean, Brad Parscale came on a few months ago. Do we think then, or do you guys think that he is doing an adequate job, or do you think that there needs to be some other sort of main people coming on the campaign team to handle optics? Because the optics have not been good in the last 3 months. Even before the shutdown really happened, he was already starting to sort of trim down his favorability ratings.
Yes, he needs more people doing different jobs, and the optics aren't good, and Brian's not doing his job to what he should be doing.
I think it depends on how this turns out. If they're playing a long game here, it's a very dangerous long game to play. Because it can't. I mean, again, he does not have a sympathetic press. So unless he gets his wall in this next 3 weeks, he's just going to be trashed for not getting the wall.
I mean, can we be honest about something?
Sure.
When you say sympathetic press,
yeah,
because number one, there's a whole bunch of different types of media. There are plenty of, number one, news radio is conservative dominated,
sure,
and is absolutely pro-Trump.
Absolutely.
And then you have sort of like leftist papers like the New York Times that are in such a Munchausen syndrome mode that they run op-ed after op-ed about how Trump supporters aren't bad because they are trying to sort of apply to some weird need to be absolutely centrist and ride the fence at all times. I think the only real one right now that is going hard.
Hang on, what is Jenna? What do you have playing in the background there, sweetie?
I have no idea.
Okay, there's something playing in your background. I'm gonna mute you. Trying to find out what that is,
All right.
and then you can unmute yourself. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say to be like because I've heard this all the time. You know, like he's got no one in the media. I mean, number one, Fox News is constantly apologizing, even to the point where it looks like forced.
Sure.
You know,
I don't disagree with the Fox
and talk radio is absolutely there. I mean, and there are plenty of publications. The idea that CNN and MSNBC are single-handedly tearing down this administration through no fault of the PR managers and the chief of staff and all the cabinet secretaries who are just talking out of their ass. You know, I think that there's plenty of blame on sort of the campaign team and the PR team and the press secretary. Like Sarah Huckabee Sanders hasn't done a press conference in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, why is she the press secretary?
Here's what I mean by not a sympathetic press. We read a lot of stories. We run a show called Lords of the Night, and our first half hour is just going through the news. It is amazing how many news outlets source the Washington Post.
Democracy dies in darkness.
Yeah. There was a story from Anderson Cooper just the other day. This is what I mean when I talk about not a sympathetic press, where he was actually dissing Trump because they had too many hamburgers for the kids from Clemson.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb criticism. Well, you got to realize Washington Post is kind of alone in the sense that Jeff Bezos bought that publication just to troll Trump.
Sure.
Straight up, I will admit that all day. Washington Post, when they changed their tagline to "Democracy dies in darkness," like a month or so after Trump got elected, I was like, "Oh my god, guys! Like, really? This is."
When you look at the major news outlets, they all tend to run more negative stories about Trump than anything positive, and that I mean, they've done studies on this. And what was it? 92% of stories about Trump were negative. I get what you're saying about talk radio, but talk radio, these are the converted. That's preaching to the choir right there.
What I mean in the sense that, I mean, like you have to think of this. If there is something that is done, like for example, the president talking about how he wants to pull out of NATO, there's not really like a positive spin for a lot of people. You're going to be kind of hard pressed to find people who say, "Hey, this is a good idea."
Sure. But how about this? When the president says, "I will accept blame for this," and he says, "I will accept blame for protecting the American people," and everybody stops at, "I will accept blame for this." Everybody.
You're missing some stuff in there yourself because he said it like 5 different times. But the whole, I mean, I'm gonna seed you some intent. Number one. But there is absolutely a reason why, number one, you're not going to run a whole 2-minute sound clip every single time you want to talk about it. But the thing is that when the president says a meeting like that, when he had with Chuck and Nancy, and then immediately, by the way, I love how we're all now saying Chuck and Nancy because he says it. And then you know, and then he comes out of it, and a week later, you know, he tries to go, the Democrats shut down. You know, that's when news outlets feel, you know, they have to say, hey, remember this a week ago? And they are only going to play that clip. But I mean, there's definitely there's intent there. I absolutely agree.
You know what? I haven't seen a single news outlet point out during all of this that this is exactly the same as what happened under Obama. Nancy Pelosi came out the other day and said that Donald Trump is holding the government hostage, and they can't let that happen, or he'll do it every time he wants something. Under Obama, when the Republicans took over the House, they did not want to fund Obamacare, and we had the exact same thing. We had a Democrat president, Democrat Senate, Republican House. This time, I mean, they're literally just the opposite parties.
Yeah,
now,
I mean,
this is exactly what happened before. Stop making such a big deal about it. And everybody's like, Nancy's right. Look, Trump is holding him hostage. I mean, he does not have a sympathetic press.
You do realize that they said Obama was holding the government hostage as well. And also, do you know what came out of that? Is that a shit ton of the provisions of the ACA really never came into implementation.
Obama got absolutely his entire way in that.
No, not at all. The finished product of ACA, man, is not at all what was wanted. Not at all.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about this. The finished product of the ACA, I will give you, is not what it was supposed. Well, actually, it's exactly what it was supposed to be, because it was supposed to push us to single payer. It was supposed to be so bad that everybody like, look, we just have to go single payer.
I mean, that's some 5D chess there, because I don't buy that. But I mean,
this was an insurance plan written by the insurance companies to fuck the people.
Yeah.
To eventually make them go, no, let's just go single payer. And we can disagree about whether or not that was the intent, but in that debate, in that fight, Obama got the bill he wanted.
No, he didn't. I mean, I wholeheartedly disagree with you here.
They passed the Senate version.
No, the only thing that he came out of it that he, you know, had to have at the end of the day ended up being the individual mandate, which right now is getting its teeth pulled out, and will quite possibly, because a single guy in Texas, make the entire law unconstitutional.
Well, the entire law was unconstitutional to begin with.
I mean, it definitely went to the Supreme Court already and was not ruled that way. But
yeah, that was also when the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court wrote both the opinion and the dissent for it, which is, yeah. Back to what we were talking about, though. Trump has to be careful, because he is now. I don't want to say he has an unsympathetic press for no reason. He's absolutely curated that. Every time somebody says anything negative about him, he goes after him. I have no problem with him going after Jim Acosta. Jim Acosta is a fucking asshole. But any negative, he's like, no, this person bad. So he's cultivated a lot of it. I'm not saying he didn't, but he's got to be very careful with how he does things going into 2020, because he does not have a sympathetic press, and he doesn't even have an apathetic press. He has one that wants to tear him down.
Do you honestly think that hurts him, though? Because I honestly think for the Trump base, I think that he has absolutely done an amazing job of thinking them that all these press outlets are lying and it's fake news. I mean, obviously, I don't think every single Trump supporter does that, but for the hardcore sort of base that isn't going to leave him, I mean, I think he's absolutely convinced them over like these networks convincing them.
I think the only reason Trump won in 2016 is because he ran against Hillary. I think if you get, I'm not sure about Harris, because she's kind of stiff.
I think incumbency factor, he wins unless there's a primary challenger. I think that's the only way that Trump can lose 2020.
I think he's a lot of independents that went his way will go the other way if they have a decent challenger. And I'm not saying that I don't care who wins the presidency. I vote for people that I know. I actually write in I voted for my wife in 2016. That's a true story.
Because you said I'd vote for a woman, but not Hillary Clinton, something to that effect.
No,
I that would have been good though.
I'd voted for friends before. I'm like, I've never voted for my wife. I'm going to vote for you this time. I don't know who I'm going to vote for in 2020. Maybe you, Dave. But I think Trump won because of who the challenger was. It was because there were a lot of people who did not like Hillary. And if you get a good Democrat in there that people like, somebody like, I think Booker could do it, honestly. I think Booker could do it. I don't think Gillibrand will, because we don't elect representatives. Sorry, sweetie. You're smart, you're pretty, but you should have run for Senate before you ran for the presidency. But if she were to get elevated to that, if she could get the nomination, I think she could take him out.
I don't think it really boils down to likability or honesty or any of that stuff. I mean, the incumbency factor is huge. If you go look at any presidents who served one term in any recent history, it always has to deal with the fact that there's sort of an insurgency on the other side, and then there's a primary challenge within their own party. If you don't have that, they're going to serve 2 terms. I think even more so that the fact that the rules don't apply to Trump makes it so that he's even more insulated from these decisions. I mean, because no matter what has happened, even when the news coverage has been 24/7 bad, and even Fox News is having to go, hey, look at these kittens for 24 hours at a time. His support never really drops below that 32% margin. And you got to realize when they take those votes of those approvals and stuff, that 100% isn't voting, but you're goddamn sure those 32% of people who say they support him, even in the face of the kitten videos, those people, the majority of them are all going to go out and vote. If you have 32% of the population, you have the presidency, unless for some reason we just have a shit ton of people that come out and vote.
It'll be interesting to see this. I'm interested in 2020 for this, because I've mentioned this before. I like the policy debate. I really do. But I like politics as a game. And you're right. Trump has changed it. The rules don't apply. And it's been fun to watch in that regard.
The only thing I will say is that the right is, I hope both people learn their lessons, because the way that the left treated Trump in 2015, the right is now doing that to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I don't think that anybody is learning that sometimes when you do this sort of off-brush criticism, all you do is you make these people more popular, because that is definitely happening right now with Ocasio-Cortez.
I think with Cortez, though, it's going to be a little different. I saw the poll the other day. It's 72, 74 or something like that % of Democrats said they would vote for her for president.
And you can't even for another 6 years, because she's 29.
You have to be 36.
If she ran for president, I think she would get completely obliterated because she's a moron.
No, you say that now, but we do have Trump now, and they said that about him.
It's true.
Trump was
no way.
Time out. Trump was a successful businessman, and yes,
but they said that he was an idiot. They portrayed him as an idiot, and he won.
No, you know why Trump won? And this is I can't remember who said it. This is the best explanation for it. The presidency is a fucking popularity contest. And before Democrats decided they hated him, he was the host of one of the most popular shows on television.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying that if you're going to go out as the press and say this person's a moron, there are people that are going to start listening to them because they want to see them say stupid shit. And if they say things they like hearing, but you're going to create your own monster.
It's definitely happening. Like Benny Johnson, and Ben Shapiro have been literally trying to dunk on AOC now for months, and all they're doing is literally giving her more attention and looking kind of weird in the process. I'm not even a super big. I don't even want to say I'm a fan, but the right is making her bigger than she could ever possibly make herself.
I think she's going to burn out quickly, and I hope she runs for president when she can.
I don't think she's going to, but her policies are going to get more places, just because of the coverage.
I don't think that's necessarily her, though. I mean, Bernie getting back into this race, I think, is going to do more for her policies. Her policies are his policies. She didn't come up with any of this shit by herself. She didn't come up with any of this by. She can't even spell her own fucking name.
I'm sure she can spell her own name.
I bet she can.
She's been spelling it for like 29 years. I'm pretty
She should
sure
spell it as Sandy.
Well, that's a cute nickname.
It is.
Are you getting mad? You're about to get mad that she's dancing now, Monkey?
Oh no, I love her dance. I defended her for the dance.
Oh, I mean, that was so weird too. Like that almost seemed like a controlled op to me. You know what I mean? Like, ha! Look at this pretty college girl dancing.
That was what
we got her, guys. Like, what?
I make fun of her when she makes policy mistakes, or like when she did her fucking branches of the government.
Yeah,
I fuck with her when if she's just out there having. I was like, let her dance for fuck's sake. She's a person.
But I will say that. So I've talked to like coworkers and stuff like that who have actually, they like hang on to her Snapchat and her Instagram stories and stuff like that. Because I guess apparently when she was getting in-docked and stuff like that, she was actually sort of guiding everyone in her city, like, hey, here's the process of in-dock, and like, here's how we're going, and like, we're getting read in on our security clearances, and we can't talk about this after, and we're going to go have lunch with this, and I'm learning how bills get sent from here to there. So I mean, there's kind of like this cool sort of outreach of civics, so I mean,
that is great. And with the internal part of it, that's awesome. But before she was sworn in, they really should have made her watch How a Bill Becomes a Law from Schoolhouse Rock.
I'm just a bill.
Because I don't think she's ever seen it. But man,
hey, didn't we all elect President Trump because we said, hey, we want someone who's like not a politician? Well, boom.
You know what? Not a politician doesn't mean you don't know how the government works.
Okay, there's a person who doesn't know the national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance, and come on, and the person's been doing the job for 2 years.
And that's not. I mean,
let's be honest here, Monkey.
That's not part of the job.
Oh, I just want to point out that I know who leaked that video of her dancing, and it was John Lithgow, because he's still upset that Kevin Bacon defeated him in Footloose.
Jesus, Jack,
I knew it. You should start a conspiracy theory podcast.
He should. Instead, he just does it here.
It amuses me.
Dave, I have a very important question for you.
Yes.
Have you seen the movie Venom?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Don't
make me kick you. Answer
sorry.
right.
I'm sorry.
Answer.
No, I can't. I didn't like it.
Oh, I'm gonna hug you.
Yeah.
Me and Dave are friends forever now.
Here's the issue. 10 years ago, that would have been an okay movie. But the game has been upped.
It looked like
Marvel has the formula. They have made movies now just amazing works of art. You can't remake like the equivalent of Catwoman anymore and have it be good.
It reminded me of the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. That's how bad I thought it was. And so many people, no, it was a good movie. That movie sucked balls.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people overstated like the CGI problem. I mean, I'm sure that was like a problem, sure, but
it wasn't that. The CGI was okay.
There was the character development was just kind of dog shit. The dialogue really wasn't that funny. The general mood of the whole movie didn't feel congruent at all. I mean, I don't know. It was just like I said, like in 10, 15 years ago when we were getting like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, if that movie was out then, I'd probably be like, oh man, that's a good movie. But like I said, the game has just changed so much.
It was the worst rom-com I've ever seen.
I just hated it. And we're coming to the end of the show, the last half hour. So I thought we'll back off the policy stuff and we'll talk about some more lighthearted things.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
If you put it on a bun, yes.
No, I'm not a gamer. I am like vehemently anti-gamer.
What?
God.
Yeah, man.
Why is that?
I think
Kick. Fucking kick.
No, I think no. To be quite honest, I don't have an issue with people who play like video games, you know, whatever for like a period of time, rewind and stuff like that. But I just know way too many people who spend like 6 hours a day playing video games, and they've sort of just gotten away from living their life. And I don't know. I see that it's anecdotal at best, but it just seems to be like so much of an addiction. I don't know.
Do you see it any differently than people watching TV for 6 hours a day?
No, I mean, I don't think that's healthy either. And I've said it before, like, I think the same thing of people who just sit on the couch all day and watch, like, football on Sundays. I think that's unhealthy, too.
Dave, we were friends, man.
Yeah, this lazy shaming is...
And now you're going to take on football. No, look, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think it can be unhealthy to do it too much. I know people like that, like, get the fuck out of your house once in a while. I like it. It's just, one, I'm a cripple. I can't do a whole lot of things.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't be like, get out of the house and go for a run. You know, not everyone can do that.
Right. I enjoy them. I think it's a good way to. I don't necessarily have a problem with your critique of it, though. You're not like games make people. Do you think games make people violent?
No.
Good. Okay. As long as that's not your answer, I think we can still get along.
I think games make people not violent, and that's another issue I have with them.
They make people docile.
Yeah, no, I think the whole of society is just kind of a lot more weak and just bitch made than it was like 20 years ago. And I think the constant sort of media fillage of video games and movies and Netflix and all that stuff has some periphery role in making that happen.
No, you know who's to blame for that?
It's
women. Women have fucked up everything. And men let them. It's men's fault.
Repeal the 19th.
No. We amend the 19th.
No, I'm going all out. Repeal.
They still get to vote. It just doesn't count.
Yeah, actually, someone in the chat says it best. They said, so not anti-gaming, more anti-lazy. Yes, I'm anti-lazy. I mean, like, what was it, like
young and active?
I mean, I'm 34, man, and I run like 6 miles a day. So
I used to run 6 miles a day.
I ain't got time for that shit. I got video.
Well, I mean, you're crippled, but I'm not saying everyone do that, but I think like everyone should go to the gym for at least like, you know, like a half hour every day, every other day. Go for like a couple miles, like walk even, you know, like get a dog, go play with your dog, like go fucking fuck your wife, fuck your girlfriend.
Worst thing that happened.
Learn to cook, get another hobby. And then at the end of all that, you know, you want to sit down, you want to play video games for a couple hours or watch some Punisher on Netflix. Hell yeah.
The worst thing I think that happened to me physically, I worked at Walmart for a long time. And when you work there, like I did, I walked constantly to the point when my vendors would come in. Can I talk to you? Like, yeah, if you can walk with me. And then I got an office job. And for 2 years, I just sat. And you're right. There's something that happens when you're not active. That your brain is just like, I don't want to do nothing. And then I got crippled, so it's okay.
Yeah, I just think there's a psychological health aspect to life that is getting so ignored by society these days. And I don't think being in our screens and not having real physical contact and not looking people in the face and talking to them and expressing empathy and all those other kinds of shit, I think we're missing that at a huge macro scale. And I don't think it's getting better. And I think we're all sort of retreating and receding into this weird sort of shell, and it's making society more divided, and our politics are getting worse.
Real quick, thank you. Nope. Fuck this 6 mile run, commie. That's right. Commies run 6 miles a day. Dax, I need to step away for just a second. You're in charge there.
Now, to be fair, you have to run 6 miles to get to the bread line early.
I'm not even a commie. I'm not even a socialist.
I'm just running with it.
Yeah, if he's military, he's not a socialist. I used to run 6 miles a day until I was hit by a car, until they would never walk again. And now I walk 6 miles a day because I'm not up to running.
Yeah, I mean, you're not burning as much calories walking
Well,
But I mean, you're
would-
you're still being more active. You're still getting like the neurotransmitters going, and you're outside with somewhat nature. I mean, this is all stuff that's healthy for your psyche.
and I'm working on getting back to being able to run, but I literally was run over and had compound fractures and had to get rods in my legs and was told I'd never walk again.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, so I ignored it and relearned to walk.
Well, you're beating the odds already, so excellent work.
Well, and a lot of the reasons I lived is because I ran 6 miles a day and I had the healthy body to be able to fight back.
Now, see, the devil's advocate in me would say if you had not gone outside to run, you wouldn't have gotten hit by a car.
Do you know why I went out? I actually went out an hour earlier because the Celtics were playing in Houston and I didn't want to miss the game. I still have no idea who won it.
Oh, that sucks.
That was my reason for being out there. I left early because, and
I don't like sports.
Sorry.
the
about
woman
that,
who
guys.
was in diabetic shock, so they claim. I want you guys to actually answer this. And if you know anyone who diabetes, deal with it yourself, whatever. If you have a, I can't think of what it's called, the thing on your side that gives you the insulin whenever you need it.
Oh, the pump? Yeah.
Or just if you're in diabetic shock, can you back up and leave a scene after you just hit somebody and they went through your windshield?
Yeah, there's usually like what do you call it? Extenuating circumstances for stuff like that. It's like I might have created an emergency, but there's still a prior emergency. And as long as you turn yourself in and you know all that other second junk you could do after the fact, you're usually exonerated of fleeing.
Well, no, my how with being in diabetic shock, do you have the whereabouts to back up? You're supposed to not be able to have any control or anything like that. And she backed up and then went straight. So she left the scene of the crime when she was in a snowbank. And then she left. And from all I know about diabetes is if she really was in shock, she shouldn't have been able to reverse and leave.
Adrenaline's a hell of a thing, but I can't tell you for certain, hon.
No idea. That's not something I can answer. I just read this on Twitter. It says, wife, I'm not talking to you. Me. Okay. Wife, don't you want to know the reason? Me. No, I respect and trust your decision. And that is the proper answer when your wife says, I'm not talking to you. It's like, okay. But be careful as long as don't do that too close to bedtime because she might kill you in your sleep.
No, she might kill you if she's like, I'm not talking to you, and you're like, you're fat.
Oh Jesus. Jack, never say that to a woman when she says that to you. She will kill you.
You say fluffy or thick.
Fluffy.
Jack, just always have someone behind you telling you what to say to a woman.
Nah, just wing it. Fuck
That's
it.
just their fat ass behind them.
I just I just say yes, ma'am. And I've been married for 25 years, so I think that's the right answer.
Yes, ma'am. You mean no, ma'am?
Are you suggesting Lady Monkey's pronouns?
No. No, she's definitely a woman. I promise you that.
We have like 40 years if we put ourselves together, Monkey.
Oh, you married?
Yeah, I've been married for 14 years.
Damn, nice. Yeah, I married my high school sweetheart. Yeah, we just what year is this?
2019.
Yeah, this will be 26 years this year. So, Monk says, or go Lorraine and Bob, and on you. Me and my wife actually disagree on this, on whether or not it's okay to go to bed mad at each other. Wait, David, do you guys have a rule about that?
So we had the reverse sort of marriage. So like our first 3 years were just hell on wheels. We never had a honeymoon period. We were all just like constantly just yelling at each other, going to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I have to like wake up for PT like 2.5 hours later. And then it was like year 4, we just like stopped fighting and we haven't fought since. So
we had a little bit of a honeymoon period. My wife is volatile, let's put it that way, or she used to be. And
Are you waving at her?
no, she's asleep.
I was asking David.
Oh no, she's not home right now.
We probably had 10 years like that, and then we finally is like, you know what, this ain't worth fighting over. Let's just I think the last time we had a major blow up was like probably 6 years ago. We still have one like every 5 or 6 years, but I think that's healthy. You gotta find your boundaries, guys.
I think there's a certain part too in marriage or just any long-term relationship where you both sort of find the rut and you just sort of you go on autopilot, and that's kind of nice because hey, everything's sort of it's usual to you, but then you get to that point where you got to start pulling yourself out of it and coming up with new things so it doesn't get boring.
I don't like the word rut. I think of it more like you
a routine
get on track.
Yeah, sure.
The railroad track, I mean, it has a certain destination, and it rut makes it sound like you're in the dirt covered in shit. And you're right. We read an advice column the other night where a woman was asking, she said, our marriage is basically boring, is what she said. But she said it works for us, but everybody keeps telling us we need to spice it up. What should we do? And like, just if you're enjoying it, fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
No, butt stuff. That's always the answer.
Well, yeah, that would be my answer for her too. But I mean,
I think one of the other big issues these days is that there's a big self-worth problem with a lot of people. And so what they want to do is they want to sort of compare everything they have to include relationships with the outside world in order to get this like validation and sort of fill this hole in themselves. So, like you can have a great relationship and for some reason society makes you want to think like, oh, well, I'm not as good as like that person. And what could I do? And it's not actually like a beneficial question of asking to improve the relationship. It's like, how do I feel better about this relationship? Even though there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Well, that was part of what she was saying is that, we see all these other couples. By the way, the other couples she mentions have all broke up. But they spiced up their life and they read in advice columns that, they should be spicing up their life. And they assure each other that everything is okay, but they're not quite sure they believe the other person. Like, if you're happy, just be fucking happy.
Yeah. I mean, we're in the same boat. Because we've been in so long and we've been together so long that we've just like surpassed all of our friendships. Like, I mean, all of our like friends, marriages and stuff like that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it is kind of, I'm not gonna lie, like it does feel kind of good because you're like, your buddy like, calls you and he's like, hey, it's just not working out. And you like, at first you're like, hey, well, have you tried this and tried this? And they're like, yeah, we've tried all this, man. It's just not working out. And you're just like, you pull out your notebook and you're like, another one bites the dust. Like, hey, we're on track to being the only couple still together. Like,
yes.
People give in too easily. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, I mean, I think there's expectation management issues with people these days as well. I don't think there's so much of life that's romanticized, and I don't know if media has hurt or helped this or whatever, but people don't realize that at the end of the day, you get what you put in. Loving someone is really freaking hard at the end of the day, but it's absolutely worth it. And eventually, you feel more comfortable than you ever felt with anyone in your entire life. And that, like, if I got divorced, I'd probably stay single for the rest of my life because I don't really want to go invest 15 more years to finally get to that point,
Yeah. See, for me, it's a little bit different. I'm very, very laid back. So I don't know if this is what you mean, but it is really hard learning to live with somebody's
idiosyncrasies.
Well, yeah, I don't want to call them flaws, but things that drive you nuts. But I'm very easy to get along with, so it's very easy for me to just ignore that, things like that. There's a few things Lady Monkey used to do that would absolutely make me nuts, and there's things I did that I absolutely changed my behavior for her. But for the most part, it was easy to get along with. Our arguments were almost always over just the dumbest shit ever. Real quick, Chaos asked why neither of us are bleeding, and that IBS taught her to expect people to scream at each other. Yeah, we don't do the IBS thing here because that's not productive to anything. But guys, I am going to wrap this up because I need to get my ass to bed. Chat, I want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you for the super chats. The donations are appreciated more than I can tell you. And with that, guys, it is shill time. And Jack, we're going to start with you. Anything you'd like to shill tonight?
No, I'm good. Like, share, subscribe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. David, anything you want to throw out there for people to find you?
Sure. My name is @LiberalPenguin on Twitter. And you can search in iTunes, the Google Play Store, or on YouTube for the Insubordinate Podcast. And come say hi to us. Check us out. I know a lot of you guys are right-leaning. We have a right-leaning guy on the show. I'm the left half of that. So I appreciate for letting me on, Ranting. And yeah, like this video, share it, subscribe it, all that good stuff.
Thank you so much. And Dax, would there anything you'd like to show?
Nope.
You guys are awfully quiet tonight.
You forgot about me.
No, he's getting through.
I'm going in order on the order it is on my screen. So Jenna, anything you'd like to shill tonight?
You begged and you have
Oh, I don't have. Sure, donate money to the Crippled Jenna Fund
Oh, there you go.
through Monkey.
Guys, you can find what day is this? This is going to be Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Okay. Tonight you can find me on Lords of the Night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. After that, me and Satsu, I think we're going to be playing 7 Days to Die. If not, he'll be playing Resident Evil over on 2 Cents Plus. Again, thank you guys for coming. I'd like to thank Jack, David, Dax, and Jenna for joining me. Everybody, you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
You do. Bye.